Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, the Prime Minister. Pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This afternoon, I shall take you through the proceedings. My name is Mark Barnett, and as customary to get us started, we will remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Or I guess we'll have to sing. Sing? Okay, I'll start you. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us that we to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Now let's send us, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Thank you very much. You may now be seated. So, I must first apologize for Permanent Secretary. However, in her absence, and as customary in these proceedings, we shall invoke the presence of the Lord. And I'm going to ask that you all bow your heads while I pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for a new day. I want to thank you for the ability to stand here to do this signing ceremony. I want to thank you for all that we have accomplished so far as a nation, as NWC. And thank you for our leadership, Chairman, the Minister, the Prime Minister. As we embark on a new project, I want you to guide those who are involved and ensure that the outcome of this activity shall be to the benefit of all. And in the end, we may say thank you for work well done. I want to say bless us as we go through this festive season. I want you to guide those to be responsible considering the pandemic that we're going through. And in the end, still have fellowship with our families, but in a responsible way. Dear God and Heavenly Father, these and all these other mercies we ask in your name's sake. Amen. Thank you. Today marked a very historic day as we embarked in NWC the advancement of what we consider significant activities to improve our efficiency as an enterprise. And as a water utility, one of the first things that any operator of utility looks at is how we can extract efficiency day by day, month by month, year by year. And so what we have embarked on in the NWC is no different from what would have been action by those in more developed environment. But let me not say much more and allow the proceedings to really give you the details. And without further ado, I would use the opportunity to introduce the head table, and I'm going to start from, I want to start from the center. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, and he's the Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, under which the NWC falls. And to my immediate left, I want to say my former boss, and now Minister Senator Aubin Hill, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Thank you, Minister Hill, for being in attendance. And of course, my new boss, Mr. Michael Shaw. Welcome, Chairman of the Board of NWC and Commissioner. Also want to recognize Country Manager Mr. Alvaro Romarlo of MIA, our partner in this regard. In the audience, I want to recognize Member of Parliament Mr. Fitzjackson. Thank you for being in attendance. Councillor Renado. Thank you. Of course, Deputy Commissioner of the NWC, Mr. Stephen Fongi. Welcome. Other members of the NWC team, other members of the mayor team, other members of the media, and members, of course, of the Office of the Prime Minister who are here present. I want to thank you very much for coming to this very significant but also important activity as we seek to improve the lives, the livelihood, and the efficiency of the NWC. So I now call on my chairman, Mr. Michael Shaw, to give opening welcome, rather, but I'm also going to give him a little bit of latitude because it is first podium speech on behalf of the NWC, and so it's an opportunity for my chairman to give a little bit more than just a welcome. Mr. Shaw, please welcome Mr. Shaw.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm soft-spoken, so you will forgive me. The Most Honorable Prime Minister, Holness, Senator Aubin Hill, my other colleagues, Mr. Fitzjackson, welcome. My name is St. Michael E. Shaw I. I'm still looking for the second, and I'm very happy to be here today. This is indeed a momentous occasion, as the significance of which will unfold as time goes on and during the course of the day. Despite all the challenges that will confront us, this will indeed mark a positive milestone in an ongoing effort to solve some of the challenges with non-revenue water. Through the Portmore NRW program, these are the stuff that will happen. Old pipes will be replaced, thereby reducing leaks. Modern meters will be installed so that the customers can benefit from accurate bills, and the residents will be added to the network so that there can be more legitimate customers opposed to just consumers. It goes to show that despite the impact of COVID-19, the NWC still strives to serve Jamaicans in many ways. We are committed to being a service-oriented organization which is dedicated to delivering quality portable water, sewage solutions, so that our people, irrespective of their socio-economic circumstances, can have a very dignified existence. This mission is of personal importance to me because I passionately believe that water is in fact a human right. Therefore, given our commitment and dedication, the choice is clear. The NWC will move from strength to strength. We will be innovative in our service delivery, responsive to meet the demands of our customers, creative in addressing the existing and future challenges. This is what is required to survive in this COVID-19 era. Communication technology is therefore not an option, but a necessity. Efficiency is not ideal. It is a basic tenet. Improving productivity is not a crowning achievement. It is a common purpose. I'll update you on something similar. The new board recently ended our 2-day retreat in Ocherius. It was a frank and sobering exercise. The board I lead is under no illusions that the challenges are deep and require strength of will and a purpose-driven management team to implement more effective measures to benefit our customers. Let the word go forth that our customers will continue to be the focus of all we do at NWC. The management and staff is therefore charged with improving customer service as part of the policy initiative of this enterprise. We know that although strides have been made, obstacles still remain. The presence of these obstacles, however, propels us to rise to greater resolve, innovation, to negate the complacencies. The NWC will soar, embrace new technologies, and implement advanced systems that will put us in a better place. Today's signing of the Portmore non-revenue water program captures this objective very well. The island-wide non-water revenue levels is estimated at 70% of water production. Hence, a sense of urgency is being deployed to address this issue. The losses being racked up have an adverse effect on well-intentioned, honest, hard-working customers, and ultimately our financials. We are moving decisively to deal with this issue, and hence the signing today. The project that will last over 5 years and has amongst the many expectations, operational efficiency, energy savings, high quality of and continuous water service. There's a renewed commitment to improve operation at NWC, and we are determined that our customers will benefit from this continuous water supply, and this NRW project, therefore, will put us on that path. In closing, there are exciting times ahead for NWC, and I'm looking forward to be a part of that journey. A function of my tenure is to ensure that there's transparency. We want to ensure that we are proactive and very effective in our communications with our stakeholders. New possibilities do in fact await. We welcome those possibilities. We welcome the change. We will evolve and play our part in helping Jamaica to realize the true potential. A society bursting with immense opportunities for persons to achieve their goals, regardless of their background. Unlocking this socio-economic potential cannot happen without water, because in fact, water is life. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Chairman Shaw. I want to use this opportunity to welcome Member of Parliament, Robert Miller. Welcome, sir. And also to take the opportunity to apologize for another Member of Parliament in the area where this project will also benefit, Minister Orlando Terrelong, who unfortunately is unable to join us. Chairman, we take the charge seriously. And I want to share with you, because we consider our interaction with our customers of multiple folds. Customers who feel that they are listened to, that they are being attended to, have a greater propensity to settle their bills, even when you may not solve their problems immediately. And for that, we can announce that we have started that process, to the effect that we have committed and implemented our own internal contact center at NWC. And, today we will switch onto the technology highway in that center, where our complaints will be managed through the clouds and resolutions similarly, in addition to ensuring that customers may not necessarily need to speak to somebody, but they can get their complaints resolved through our IVR system. So we have listened and we are making the adjustments even during times when things are tough. But it is necessary because the customer is king. Let me not say much more because my chairman will elaborate more because he has always driven that home all the time in his tenure at NWC. And I often say chairman because it's so synonymous with Minister Hill, because that's how I refer to him most times. But let me welcome Senator Hill, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth, to give his remarks on this program. Minister Hill, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President and RMC for the morning. Most Honorable Prime Minister, and Your Holiness, Prime Minister has been pushing this water business since I have known him and been involved in government, and it's good to see him here today to sign this agreement. Our Permanent Secretary is not here, but I'm going to recognize her because she's so important in helping us to get all these things done. And I appreciate her help both when I was chairman of NWC and now working in her ministry that the Prime Minister heads. Okay. Mr. Alvaro Romalo, Country Manager of MEA, very happy to see you again, Alvaro, and I hope we will get to play tennis again soon. He's a good tennis player, but there's a little work to be done. Member of Parliament Rob Miller from Southeast St. Catherine, good to see you here. And your colleague MP, Mr. Fitz Jackson from South St. Catherine, welcome to you both, and good to see you, Fitz, right here, and Bob, Big Rob, with us. Chairman Michael Shaw, thank you for your charge to the board, very clear, and nothing less was expected. We've had our talks, and I know he's going to drive those issues very well. Attendees from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're here today to mark another remarkable chapter in NWC's journey to solve what is arguably the most pressing and costly problem the NWC faces, and that is the issue of non-revenue water. NRW, we call it. The journey started in 2015 with the Commission's effort to address the Kingston and St. Andrew non-revenue water reduction program. So far, the results have been encouraging. The productivity of the leak repair teams have been markedly increased, and there's a reason for that. Soon after I came in, I met Mia. Mia had just taken on this 50 million or so US dollar contract, just met them, and NWC and us, myself as chairman, made it very clear. If you take one step, you have to take a Jamaican with you. You have to train Jamaicans. And luckily, Mia's attitude was matching. It's not something that we had to force on them. And so the productivity of the leak repair teams have been markedly increased. They know what to do. They know what to do with the new meters, how to change the old pipes, put the new ones, working very well. Our leak repair teams have done their work with sustained professionalism in order to meet international key performance indicators. And thanks to you, Mayor Alvaro, and your team, and the Jamaicans who have done this. Those noteworthy milestones have won international recognition. NWC and MEA, or NRW private sector partner, are the winners of the WEX 2020 International Award that recognizes achievements in water innovation and infrastructure. Portmore is the next stop on the NWC reduction of NRW journey. Through the Portmore NRW project, the government wants to reduce water losses in the Sunshine City and thereby reduce the level of NRW to 30% from a high number I know you will be told the high number shortly. By the end of the project period, which is 5 years. We also want to reduce and correct leaks, reinstate roadways. Mark will tell you, when I took over as chairman, I was obsessed. I said, Mark, NWC dig up the road and said them put in pipe, and all 3 months later, the mall still beside the thing. And I complained and quarreled, and to diffuse the issue, he mentioned quietly that, you know, most of the work is done by NWA on our behalf. I say, I don't care. When I go to Miami and I see them fix the road, the man no leave no hole in the road. It's asphalted, clean and pretty. I say, I want ours to work. We have gotten down the road. We haven't gotten at Miami yet, but I know he's working on it. Tells me that asphalt sometimes is hard to find, and so on. Most importantly, though, we want to distribute water at acceptable and sustainable pressures. Very important. In order to improve regulatory compliance according to standards of the Office of the Utilities Regulation, the OUR, and especially to enhance significantly customer satisfaction. That's what it is about. People must be satisfied with the service NWC gives them. Improving customer satisfaction is among the major and strategic goals of the NWC. We're aware that this goal is a constant work in progress. If they ever get to the place where they say we have arrived, you know that they start rusting. They're going backwards. So we will never arrive. We will just get better at what we have to do. But our customers can be assured that this is something we pay attention to on a daily basis. And I know Chairman Shaw is going to carry that message and push it. The ministry, the board, the management and staff have recommitted energy and focus to ensuring that our customers are valued, informed, and served in the best ways possible within the constraints of the multiplicity of challenges which the NWC faces on a daily basis constantly. The Portmore NRW project is a testament to that greater customer satisfaction commitment. The program has 3 phases: the audit phase, the implementation phase, the sustainability phase. Throughout all 3 phases, we're committed to keeping our stakeholders informed. We will work diligently and avoid protracted delays, and our work will be orderly as possible under the circumstances. And frankly, I have seen mayors work, how they work, and I am pleased at how they go about their business. But Alvaro, you have to raise the standard, because if Mercedes had kept its 1935 standard when it was the best car in the world, today Lewis Hamilton would be winning. Wouldn't be the winningest driver, if I can use an American term, in Formula One. With a Mercedes-Benz, the standard has to keep going up. So I want to impress that on you and encourage our Jamaicans to learn those standards. This is a US $13 million project. It's not a small amount of money. We at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, the Prime Minister's ministry, will ensure that the Jamaican taxpayers get value for money out of this project. And Alvaro, you know how I think about that. Every penny must be well paid. Yes, you make what you must make, but we must get what we must get. But harvesting and the distribution of water is an expensive exercise. In fact, if we're going to fix NWC, we made this public, we're going to have to look at getting $3.5 billion US to fix this, and that means NWC will have to be corporatized and privatized. Downtown alone is going to cost $800 million, thereabouts, just to fix the sewage. It's a very expensive matter when you get clean, portable water of the high standard, and it is the high standard that you get in Jamaica. Many ships come here still to get our water. Contractors, Mia up front, I'm making a public charge to you to work diligently and efficiently and with integrity to ensure Jamaicans get maximum value for the taxpayers' dollars being spent on this project. Congratulations to NWC and Mia for undertaking this bold initiative. And you and the people of Portmore have my best wishes for success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Hill. Very well said. You know, Alvaro has been, I want to say, probably the third generation of mayor on the Kingston and St. Andrew non-revenue water project. But we often have conversation on the exercise, and I must say that he has taken a deep interest, commitment in aspects of our society that oftentimes projects don't really consider. When you see the efforts being made in some of the inner city communities, I recall, and Prime Minister, forgive me if this brings back little bad memories, but we're in the festive season again. And 2 years ago, we have a very unfortunate disruption, and it affected your constituency significantly. And I can tell you, every call you make to me, I call Alvaro and team that we must get water in the PM constituency. And so, you know, it is that type of underground effort where he personally with his team, along with the NWC team, would do everything possible to ensure that those requests are solved. Eventually, not much was able to solve in the short term. We can admit that now. But I can say in the long term now, there's far greater improvement in that general area than it was then. But, you know, we face challenges. Having said that, I want to welcome Country Manager Alvaro to the podium and to give remarks on behalf of Mayor. And Alvaro will give you the history of Mayor, but Alvaro, welcome.
Thank you. Good day. Most Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chairman, Honorable President. Probably we can start with a small video that shows in 4 minutes these 5 years of great effort and dedication from the co-management team, MIA, NWC on the ground.
In 2015, the National Water Commission, NWC, was under the heavy hand of huge water losses, specifically non-revenue water, NRW, with over 60% of NWC's water production in Kingston and St. Andrew, KSA, not earning revenue. This huge volume of NRW resulted from a number of issues including age-old deteriorating infrastructure, regular droughts, faulty meters, and illegal connections. Consequently, the NWC moved to reduce water loss and improve operational efficiency through the implementation of the KSA NRW Reduction Co-Management Program. A 5-year program agreement was retained in 2015 with MIA Water, with a mandate to reduce the NRW within KSA from 60% to 30% at the end of the 5-year term. After 5 years of earnest effort, the co-management team has successfully reduced daily readings from 125,000 meter cubic per day to below 70,000 meter cubic per day, which is more than 55,000 metric cubic per day, or 70% of the total reduction target as at November 2020. So far, the co-management partnership between NWC and MIA has trained over 350 staff, detected more than 4,000 underground non-visible leaks, repaired more than 30,000 pipe and service connections, installed and implemented 140 pressure zones, and has been performing meter installation in 48 socially challenged areas, SCAs, installing over 12,000 customer water meters. Social interventions like community meetings involving stakeholders and MPs and implementation of a water conservation school program are key efforts used to minimize resistance to some consumers to join NWC and to allow the co-management team to intervene in those areas and finally conduct all necessary maintenance and disconnections in the network. This sensitization helps to convert illegal users to paying customers. In November 2019, MIA sought to take the message of saving water to youngsters within school communities in the targeted areas through the Water Conservation Education Program. Approximately 1,500 students from 20 schools in the socially challenged areas, SCAs, of Kingston and St. Andrew, KSA, were engaged. NRW COPS Award, topping some of the leading water management projects from around the world. The Kingston and St. Andrew Non-Revenue Water Reduction NRW Co-Management Program copped the award for the Best Innovative Wet Infrastructure Project at the WEX Global 2020 Gala Dinner and Award Ceremony held in Valencia, Spain, March this year. The project demonstrated the highest level of environmental, social, and water resource impact, as well as demonstrating excellence in its social, economic, and environmental design. At the heart of the pandemic, MIA Jamaica stepped in to provide relief supplies to families across the island. In April 2020, the water company delivered hygiene supplies, food and liquids to communities directly affected. The company has also worked closely with the National Water Commission to reduce water losses and ensure a steady flow of water to NWC customers during the pandemic. MIA Jamaica is committed to the people of Jamaica and is working hard to build the KSA's resilience to droughts, reducing significant commercial losses to the NWC, and helping to impact the NWC's ability to provide consistent and quality service delivery to its customers across Jamaica. The NWC MIA NRW program is a project financed by the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. Water is life.
Probably now we can follow a couple of slides just to try to explain technically what we are doing quickly in Portmore and what were the most honorable results that we achieved in KSA, the 5-year program. So on the first slide, we can see that the training, the intensive training that was developed was over 350 staff, and it is very important to say that today the 200 people that work 360 days per year, 24 hours per day, are 97% Jamaicans. So we have the minimal expatriates for very specific activities like hydraulic modeling or very specific data analysts for some of the top state-of-the-art equipments that we installed. On the leak detection, which is 100% Jamaican, and it's a team that is built with our training and full employed by NWC, we have found, and I think is remarkable, 4,000 non-visible leaks, which, if these teams were not trained, we will never able to find them and repair them, and of course reduce the losses. On the next slide, you can see also the proficiency that Honorable Minister already talked about. It is the efficiency of the leak repairs. The international standards show that a team could perform until 4 repairs per day in mains, which is a great result considering the mobility in the town with such a traffic and size. And we achieved that goal after 3 years and a half. It takes some time, but I guess that how is marked in our masks, the co-management works as a team, and today we are all moving to the same side with same objectives, and that is the results are obvious. On the next slide, we can see, we can move another one because we already talked about leak repairs. On the pressure management, it's very important. When you are in Jacks Hill and you have drops of 100 meters in a couple of flat meters, you can see that the gravity is doing a great pressure in the pipe. And if you don't install the proper equipment to reduce that pressure, that pipe that was holding the pressure for 50, 60 years, after a certain point starts to be in stress. And this is the pacemakers that we install to the network to cool it down and maintain this old network lady, a couple of more years with some proper life and guidance. After that, we can see that the art of this project, after a period of time on my third generation of me being here, was a downtown focus based on the flat customers, which are paying an amount, but they are consuming more, and there is no incentive to save, and also some percentage of illegals. So our work was first to talk to the MPs and the local stakeholders to find a way to engage the population to this new reality of universal metering, and by a superb involvement of the PR of NWC, of the managers of NWC, we could work Sundays and days and nights to revert the situation. And we successfully installed more than 12,000 meters. It's true that there is still a long way to conclude because downtown is huge, but it was so far, and we expect during this year to improve and continue to improve the levels of NRW in downtown, which has a special component of commercial losses based on the metering. On the next slide, we can see the overall results. I think they are amazing. There was an initial phase where we we climbed Jack's Hill until we have settled the teams and settled the pressure management and do the initial installations. And from that point, we have been dropping and dropping and dropping with overall results of around less than 70,000 cubic meters of losses, where we came from 125. It's also relevant to say that the revenues that this project has generated are in the order of the 50 million, when this project is costly so far 65 million, including the costs of NWC staff that we are accounting in this contability. And it is important to say, if the standards and the level of leakage is maintained until 10 years, it will be highly profitable with $30 million profit, earning 90 million in revenues and costing the 60 that I mentioned. Finally, just to recognize that this award was not a case of it was a case of recognition from an international project done, which was innovative. The co-management, as far as we know, has been implemented in Oman and in Jamaica. And the results that we achieved in this different approach, using the local staff, the local managers, and bringing only part of the team, it is a very less onerous solution and proved to function. And this is, for us, it is a great honor to be in Jamaica and to be part of this success. Just two small slides to state that Portmore is, we are honored to be signing this contract, and we are recognizing a different solution, and we will tailor-made, although our knowledge in Jamaica is recognized, but we will tailor-made the solution that could be less commercial, more physical sides losses in terms of works and performance on the ground. It is, as Senator Hill said, is $13 million value, and it is expected to start the audit phase, and the implementation will start with more 5 years. And for the last slide, we have just the initial activities that we will perform immediately, which are all the identification and GIS validation of all the locations of all the customers, 50,000. The study, the profound study of the customer service data, which is crucial to understand where are the illegals, where is the payment, where are the meters to be installed, and this study is crucial for a success. And finally, an upgrade on the infrastructure, including metering to have a notion exact where we are. I will finish with a sentence that is, you cannot manage what you cannot measure. And MIA and I know NWC, we are committed to improve these levels and go fast forward to the future. Minister, just a last comment. I'm not a tennis professional player. I'm a water professional. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alvaro. Very, very appropriate summary of current and future. But there's one thing that Alvaro omitted, Prime Minister. In concluding this arrangement, we asked MIA to have skin in the game. What do we mean by that? MIA will spend at least 1 year of expense, capital expense, before NWC start to pay MIA for the work that they would have done. And so, what we have done is to ensure that under this performance-based arrangement, the contractor has something to look forward to and hold them committed to delivery. And I think that is a modified feature of this contract as opposed to the current one. It's part of what we considered lessons learned in improving contracting. So just to advise our audience that this function is being streamed live on the Prime Minister's Facebook and Twitter pages, and as well on the NWC Facebook and also on JIS Facebook and YouTube channels. So this is very, very important in terms of getting the word out. Definitely a function of this magnitude with your minister being the Prime Minister could not really take place without having the full blessing of the minister. And it really gives me great pleasure to have the Prime Minister here to signal the government's fulsome commitment to improvement in our water sector. And in so doing, without saying any further words, I now welcome the Most Honorable Prime Minister to the podium.
Thank you, Mark, for mastering the ceremony. I noticed that everyone spoke with their masks on. Normally, we would have taken off our masks to allow for clarity in speech, but these masks seem not to muffle too much, so everyone is able to hear. So I will follow the protocol established, which is to keep the mask on, and it is beneficial for all. Indeed, it is part of the disaster risk management orders and part of the infection control measures. As we say in the government, COVID still a keep. Yes, and there seems to be a growing sense of complacency where our citizens, it may very well be because of the approach of the festive season, it may very well be because of the announcement of a vaccine, that our citizens are now becoming very relaxed in the way in which they observe the measures. And it is a cause for concern. It is causing particularly concern in Westmoreland, in Hanover. We're seeing an increase in the cases there, and we have put in place tighter measures. But this is not a ceremony where we will be discussing COVID matters. But of course, there is a link, because water is necessary for us to have what is now called the hand hygiene, to wash your hands. And as we talk about health issues, water is definitely life. Definitely life when we talk about health issues. I see that Minister Hill is here with us. Minister Hill was the former chairman of the NWC, and I listened to him speak, and the passion escaped, because he is very passionate about the NWC and the work of the NWC. I will also acknowledge our new chairman of the NWC. I didn't know you were St. Mark. St. Michael, forgive me. The new chairman of the NWC, Mr. Michael Shaw. Let me also acknowledge members of Parliament in attendance, Mr. Big Rob Miller. We call him Big Rob. Everybody knows Robert Miller. The Member of Parliament for South East St. Catherine. And believe it or not, my good friend, the way he behaves sometimes you may not think so. My good friend Fitz Jackson. Fitz, how are you? I'm happy that you're here with us to witness this. Indeed, the program will impact both constituencies. Well, it will impact all of Portmore, particularly your constituencies. I'll also make mention of Mr. Kennard Grant, representing the Mayor of Portmore. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and Jamaicans listening in social media, good afternoon. Now, why are we here today? Mr. Alvaro Ramallo, did I get it right? Explained it quite well. What is it that we're doing? We have very old water infrastructure in Jamaica. Much of our infrastructure would have been built over 60 years ago, and we have infrastructure that's over 100 years old. In downtown Kingston, we have infrastructure over 150 years old. That infrastructure would be, for example, sewage disposal infrastructure. Now, when we build these kinds of civil works infrastructure, they have a useful life built in. Some will last for 50 years, some maybe 70 years, and that life can be extended depending on the maintenance regime. The maintenance regime of the Jamaican government for its infrastructure is well known. I don't have to explain to you that it is not sufficient. A large part of that has to do with our budget. So we may very well do the capital works. We may have laid the pipes 50 years ago. We may have put in the sewage 50 years ago. But the recurrent budget to maintain it, we have not done so with great discipline. And that is largely due to the fiscal issues that we have faced as a country. We have borrowed. Many exogenous issues have happened, many exogenous shocks, whether it is oil prices, whether it weather events, And of course, we cannot hide from the fact that our own mismanagement of our affairs and the use of what I would call poor economic policies for a long and extended period of time would have impacted on our fiscal capacity to allocate the necessary budget to maintain the infrastructure. There is another element to this problem, which is the culture of lack of maintenance. I don't know if it is because of the stage of development we are as a nation, where we don't see maintenance as important to infrastructure. But this generation of Jamaicans, we're now seeing the importance of maintenance, because that has to now deal with what we call resilience and sustainability. So it is not merely about putting in the pipeline, putting in the sewer main, or building the new road. Along with that has to be the wherewithal to maintain it. And in order to have the wherewithal to maintain it, you must have fiscal discipline in the management of public resources. I believe in the last 10 years, Fitz will agree with me, that both political parties have come to this understanding of the importance of proper fiscal management of our affairs. And that fiscal management will allow us to dedicate a recurrent budget for maintenance. Once we get this correct, we can't allow our infrastructure to become a cost to us. So what is happening is that the infrastructure that we have put down for the NWC, while it is giving us the utility of having water, it is also, in many instances, costing the government. And how is this cost to the government? How did this come about? Well, for every drop of water that is consumed, and for which there is no revenue generated, the NWC has to pay the electricity to pump it, has to pay the staff who manages the treatment facilities that come and connect you to the service, repair the main, answer the telephone, and all the other functions necessary to bring water to your home or to your farm or to your business. And if there's no revenue coming from that, then it becomes the cost of the government. Now here is where the big disconnection is. It is the government's cost and not my cost. Because as far as the average citizen is concerned, government cost has nothing to do with them. There's a separation. Not realizing that government will have to find the resources some way. So whether it is a tax on GCT, whether it is some form of surcharge or tax on gas, whether it is you pay more for services that the government gives in terms of the government charging fees, in some ways the government has to collect the revenue. The government can't print money because that in itself becomes a tax on you through inflation. So whichever way you take it, the citizen should never feel that they can consume and escape payment because somebody else is going to pay for it. That is not the case. All of us still end up paying for it. Some may pay for it more than others. But it is still the citizens who will have to pay because the tax level will affect all citizens. So, in reckoning with this challenge of having infrastructure that needs to be maintained, an infrastructure where we are losing water because of the lack of maintenance. And that's just one element of it. So when we drill a well, when we capture water in our reservoirs or store them in our tanks, and then we put them in our treatment system, and then we pump them through the mains, if those mains are old and leaking, then a certain percentage of that does not end up in your home. It will end up back into the ground or evaporate into the air. But there's also a certain percentage that is used, what we call diplomatically, that is abstracted. Illegally abstracted water. Sorry, Fitz, you said it was what? Thieving. And we know and we understand water is life. You must have some social water, as they call it. But the level of social water that we have makes the utility, NWC, uneconomical. We end up losing water, yes, to the inefficiencies and weaknesses in the infrastructure, but we also lose water to illegal abstraction. At some points, as high as 70% of the water generated would have gone into either technical loss, that means the system is leaking, or through illegal abstraction. So we can try to solve the regular maintenance issues by solving the way in which we manage our resources and become more fiscally efficient and place funds to maintain the system. But then there's a bigger problem of the illegal abstraction, of the citizens feeling that they should take the water because somebody else is going to pay for it. Water is life, we're going to die without it. And the fear of the political class to address this issue, which is what I call a part of the politics of poverty. No one wants to have a conversation with our citizens, many of whom are poor and dispossessed, about how do we treat with this water issue. How are you going to ask someone who is unemployed, who has 10 kids, how are you going to ask them to pay for water? It is the greatest fear of politicians. But the country cannot move forward with things as they are. And we have been having this conversation for decades. And it is not just water, it's electricity, it's land and housing, and you can name it. The fear of politicians in having this conversation with the citizens to say, listen, we cannot have this chaka-chaka arrangement. It is not going to carry us forward. I have never countenanced that, even in my own constituency, where I know the problem exists. I have been very straightforward and upfront with my constituents and with the country about having a system in place where eventually everyone will have to make a contribution according to your means to these utilities. And if you are so assessed as not having means, then we must upfront consider that as part of our social safety net and welfare, but not to disguise it in the overall cost to every consumer. That just makes it inefficient. So what has been happening is that the NWC and other utilities have had to put up rates which reflect the economic cost to them, but not necessarily the proper economic cost that each ratepayer should get. That's the reality. As I said, don't believe it's free. Somebody's going to pay for it. In coming to the solution to this problem, because we are still some ways away from the solution, but what we're doing here today is a step in the right direction. It's a step in ensuring that we are maintaining the infrastructure, we are detecting the leaks, and we are putting in place the social engagement, because it may have escaped you, but in all of what we are doing here with MIA, there is a serious component of social engagement and interaction with the citizen. Now, I visited Israel, I believe it was in 2017. And my good friend would have thought that I went there for other objectives. But we went there to observe some amazing technology that exists. And you would have seen it pointed out in the slides that were shown, that the technology exists to detect leaks several feet underground, deep underground actually. Even minute leaks can be detected using very sophisticated technology. And I saw them do it in Israel, saw the operations there. And other water management strategies as well. So bringing in a company like MIA, which has deep and extensive experience in water management, made sense in helping us to have a program that can help us to maintain the infrastructure and do it in a smart way. Because it is not that the government of Jamaica is finding the money from its budget separately and differently. It is that the money that we save with MIA, by employing the technology, some of that resources will go to pay for the deployment of the technology. And it makes sense. It's a good strategy to bring maintenance to the infrastructure. Because effectively, when you think of it, that is what we're doing with this. So what we're launching here today for Portmore is a program that already exists in Kingston and St. Andrew. I have seen the MIA team come to my home sometimes. They screw on some gadgets onto the pipes, and they're all over changing meters and detecting, and they can tell you what the pressure is, and they're doing their pressure checks and their pressure readings. That kind of information helps us to better manage and maintain. You have detected over 31,000 leaks over the 4 years, 4,000 of which are unseen, meaning we wouldn't even know that we're losing water. And you were able to go and repair them. So whilst they were saying, NWC, just dig it, because that became your motto a year or so ago. You were digging to find the leaks and repair them. And I know the passion of your former chairman, now minister, in ensuring that you repair the roads as you disturb them. We're not quite there yet, but I would say that it has improved. I wouldn't say it is much. It has improved. It has improved. We still have a way to go. I mean, I get the calls when Constant Spring was being done. It was just non-stop calls about NWC digging up what was just repaired. But we are aware of this problem. And now, having the technology to detect the leaks means that we can maintain readily. It will extend the life of the infrastructure a bit. But make no mistake, and I'm saying this now to especially the metropolitan area, Kingston and St. Andrew. The infrastructure is old and creaking. It cannot carry us for another 50 years. And as soon as we are out of the pandemic and we are on a strong budgetary pathway, we will have to make some serious infrastructure investment in water. Because that is the foundation for the city and for the country and for agriculture and for everything. So we know this, we are aware of this problem, and we are putting ourselves in a position to be able to do this. Downtown Kingston in particular, as it relates to sewage and water, massive investments will have to be made in downtown Kingston. The good news is that we have started. A few weeks ago, you would have seen me, I believe we did it right here, where we signed the contract for the pipelines that we are laying, continuing the work that we had done on the Mandela Highway. We're now going down Spanish Town Road, which will help many of the communities along Spanish Town Road. My constituency included the leader of the opposition's constituency, my neighbor, Tony Hilton, Minister of Finance's constituency, Central Kingston, as far as East Kingston and Port Royal. All of those areas will see improvement in service as a result of that investment. For Portmore, what this will mean now is that we will be able to determine on your water network where the leaks are, repair them quickly, regularize your meters. We gather we have about 54,000 connections. 65? No, in Portmore. 54,000 connections. But probably, if you were to add in the illegal connections, you would have several more thousands to add. But I would say to those who have illegal connections, there should be nothing to fear that you will be deprived of water. It is in having everyone on the system and us knowing what your consumption is, us being able to plan and budget for what your consumption is likely to be, that we can bring down the rates. The government isn't saying that you should be without water. That's not the position of the government. Let us know you have a very sympathetic and understanding government. There is no need to steal water. If you come to the NWC and say, I want to regularize, we will find a way to regularize. We'll find a way to ensure that you can pay according to your means. And I'm saying this, that, the normal view of the citizen feeling that they are not a part of the state and therefore they should, steal from the state. That view should end now in Jamaica. Jamaica is our country. We own it, so we shouldn't steal from it. Right? It's our country. And the posture of the government is to ensure that every citizen, regardless of your state, your financial circumstance, that we can find a way to accommodate you, especially with things that I consider to be basic human rights, basic human needs. So in Portmore, we are going to seek to put more persons onto the formal grid, the water network. We will bring you on. And we will also be looking to improve the infrastructure there, changing out some of your mains that are old and degraded. But I know, because I get the calls as well and the WhatsApp messages about water pressure. Now, one of the problems with water pressure is that when you have people who you didn't even know are on the main, then it's not just that everybody pays more, but everybody gets less. That is a part of the problem. Now, I give you the problematique in a simple form. Now, the NWC has several wells in St. Catherine, and they pull from the Rio Cobre. And that is the main source that serves St. Catherine, Portmore, and Kingston. In a time of drought, the NWC has to literally sit down and ration. Where are we going to send the water? if there are 70,000 persons on the network in Portmore, speculatively speaking, hypothetically speaking, and we only know of 54, then the calculation for volume is going to be off. They're going to want to direct water to where they know where the volume is. In other words, the lack of the true information for the NWC affects its planning for your service. And so this is, in my opinion, a very important project. It will benefit the country generally, but when we say the country will benefit generally, you know, the person listening in at home say, how is it going to benefit me? Obviously not seeing that they are also a part of Jamaica. But it will benefit the country. It will reduce our non-revenue water. It will improve the infrastructure, improve our service. But in the not so long run, we said 10 years, what you will start to see is a downward trend in your rates for water, an increase in government's revenues, and a general improvement in the balance sheet of the NWC. And that will lend itself to a more robust, sustainable, and resilient public utility in our National Water Commission. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me commend the NWC and Mayor for getting this project to the point where it can be implemented. You have the Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. He is specifically tasked to ensure that the policy positions that we take as a government, that those are properly executed. And the President of the NWC is here with us. If there are any problems, if you call me, I roll it down the hill. To ensure that it gets done. And that's how governments work. We try to be very responsive, and we try to also be inclusive. So this project will improve efficiency and ensure that all Jamaicans can have access to this very critical, life-sustaining element of nature, water. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Most Honorable Prime Minister. I really would not even attempt to recap, but just to say what you have said, Prime Minister, is most significant in the message to the general population. Each pay an increment, it simply means less for all, but more for the utility. And we can't overemphasize that even in our own rate review, that has always been one of the discussions with the OUR. How do we get more in so that the overall price goes down? And it is very, very important. Nonetheless, we are committed to ensure that we capture as much customers in the formal net. We have started that in Kingston. Those 12,000 meters that would have been there, majority would have been on customers who would not have been registered. And in fact, even some areas where we think we captured everyone, we're finding that there are some who weren't captured at all. And this program is doing that. And it is really part of how we're going to change the landscape, change efficiency, and make the NWC efficient. I'll just say this finally. Minister Hill, when you privatize a utility like a NWC, or any utility for that matter, the first thing that they look at is how much am I producing, how much am I billing? They are not going to run or install a new treatment plant or any of that major capital unless they extract as much efficiency out of what they are now doing. And I think we here committing to do that is a demonstration that we understand how utilities are to be functioned. We do understand as well that resources are limited and we can't bite off as much as we would like. And so Portmore is contiguous to the metropolis of the corporate area, and put the two together, this is where the largest consumption of water takes place in the island. And it is just a commercial imperative that we tackle that situation in Portmore as well. So, having said all of that, and Prime Minister, just finally to state, Constant Spring, we have nothing to do with that. We had nothing to do with that.
What did you say again?
Constant Spring, we have nothing to do with that. Because, you know, oftentimes Minister Hill will say to me, once there's a dig in the road, it's NWC. And I said, no. There was a time when Cable and Wireless went and dig up an entire stretch of road. And it seemed as if it's a water pipe. And who they call? NWC. Because guess what? We dig the most road. That's just the reality. You dig the most road, you're going to get the blame. But Constant Spring was not us. And we aim to improve our backfilling and the quality of the road work that we do. And I will tell you, PM, one of the things that we have mandated internally, we're not using marl as a backfilling material anymore. Because marl with a little rain, a little water, it sinks. So what we are using as a process in our business is river shingle, which is much more firm and compact. And even if it's maybe a little bit rough, it won't sink when you drive on it. So there are some changes that are happening to improve how we go ahead. We just want to get NWA to be a little bit more responsive and just don't send me a bill all the time. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to concretize our arrangement with Mayor. And I will move, Andrew and Co., we will move straight into that session where we'll now do the sign-in, and thereafter we will have closing remarks. and gentlemen, as you know, we have now come to the end of this ceremony, but before I let you go, I want to say have yourself a very, very, very Merry Christmas. I know the Prime Minister have instituted certain protocol which we shall observe, and so we are now officially concluded. Thank you very much.